Platform of a temple. A concrete platform partially collapsed due to the presence of large underground cavities, stands in the large open area now used as a garden. In ancient times, this was a city square, perhaps the area Palatina mentioned by ancient authors. This must have been heart of the Palatine, overlooked by both the imperial palaces, both the facade of the Domus Augustus and the Domus Tiberiana. The Cryptoporticus is one of the most distinctive monuments of the Palatine. It is an underground corridor 130 meters in length, illuminated by basement windows. It connects the south side of Domus Tiberiana to the so-called House of Livia. This covered passageway served as link to different parts of the imperial palace in Juno-Claudian period. Service rooms next to the platform. The platform of the Domus Tiberiana, clearly visible here on the south side, was crossed by galleries connecting various sectors of the palace and linking parts of the Palatine, which would be otherwise have been separate. The Emperor Caligula was assassinated in one of these tunnels in AD 41. The platform also hosted service rooms. Temple of Victoria. Next to Temple of Magna Mater, we have the remains of a second platform, identified as Temple of Victoria, built on the summit of the Palatine in 294 BC. Part of the podium in two top blocks belonging to the most ancient building survives, alongside fragments of columns in proportion marble and some painted, including facets of two statues. Village. On the summit of the Palatine facing the Tiber, excavations have brought on like a small hut village, usually linked to the foundation of Rome. The existence is indicated by trenches and holes dug into the soil, from whose form archaeologists has deducted the presence of two huts with beaten earthwork supported by a framework of wooden poles and with a roof of interwoven branches. Small temple. Between the temples of Victoria and Magna Mater are the remains of a third smaller temple of the 1st century BC, reconstructed by a brick podium in the 2nd century AD. Some scholars have identified this as Augustarium, the place where August observed the flight of birds, draw omens from them. Others believe that this was the shrine of Victoria Virgo, was known to build the 193 BC. Arcadic area. The corner of the Palatine facing Aventine and the Tiber hosted temples and sacred place linked to the most ancient period of the city's history. From 11th to 10th century BC, Rome's first inhabitants settled on this peak, naturally protected by the sheer rock walls and located in view of the fort and the ancient port of the Tiber. They lived in hut villages attested by traces cut into tufa dated to the 9th century BC by pottery finds. According to the legend, one of these huts was home to founder Romulus and was associated with the city's foundation in 753 BC. nympharium of the Miros. From the garden of Horti Farnesiani, covering the foundations of the Domus Tiberiana, a series of stairs and ramps led down towards to support Clivus Palatinus and the garden facing the Colosseum. On this side of the hill, the remains of semicircular nympharium built in imitation of a grotto up against the ancient walls. Domus Flavia, so-called basilica. The so-called basilica takes its name from the architecture of its interior, typically basilicas. It was divided into 3 halls by colored marble columns, with an apse at end closed by an balustrade. Traces of marble veneer survive on the walls, and part of the floor, made large slabs of colored marble, was presented until 19th century. A modern staircase leads a room beneath, covering by the palace, is known as Hall of Isis. Domus Flavia, so-called ancient audience chamber. The largest room reserved for audience with the emperor is traditionally known as audience chamber. It was exceptional size and had a complex architectural decoration of which many features survive.
Dietro a Thames Tower.
The Palatine Museum is a long garden located between the Domus Augustina and the base of the Servian palaces. Although at a lower level intended for the emperor's strolls, it was originally decorated with two semicircular foundations. Later added included the portico, the large extina on the eastern side, and the nympharium decor with fountains to the north. Nympharium and the adjoining cisterns. A short northern side of the stadium, above some service rooms, ended in square room with niches decorated with statues and fountains, fed by a complex system of water pipes. Some large cisterns in underground area to the rear, also known in the Renaissance and drawn by Pier Ligerio, ensured water supply to the Flavian Palace. Imperial Palace. The Imperial Palace stands on the summit of the Palatine and extends to its slopes, occupying much of the hill. It was built by the architect Rabirus on order of Domitian and inaugurated in AD 92. It was the official residence of all later emperors. The palace is divided into three sectors: an official area, a sector hosting private apartments, and a large garden in form of stadium with its annexes. The smaller room next to the so-called audience chamber is known as a Laurentium because when it was discovered, it had a podium at the back accessible from two small staircases and clad in colored marble. House of Livia. One of the best preserved late Republican houses on the Palatine is that known as the House of Livia, due to the discovery of its cellars of a water conduit with the name. Of Augustus' wife, Livia stamped on it. She must therefore have lived here. Among the surviving rooms on the basement story as a sort of atrium supported by travertine pillars with 4 large rooms opening onto it, adored with mosaic floors and refined second-style wall paintings. On the wall there are scenes drawn from Mesa and general paintings. Inlaid marble floor. The magnificent inlaid marble floor, with its elegant geometrical and floral design, was excavated in the early 20th century, with the rooms beneath attributed to the Nero's Domus Transitona, to which usually thought to belong. In fact, the floor was different style from Nero's buildings, but similar to of the nearby Augustan complex, making its attribution uncertain. The floor belonged to with the internal properties supported by columns, of which found travertine blocks survive. Domus Flavia. At the sides of trilineum and communicating with it were 2 symmetrical porticoed courtyards with one curved side, one which 2 now lies underneath the Palatine Museum, while the other is better preserved the foundation of the colonnade, some fragments of the yellow marble columns and much of the outer doors. Farnese Lodge, a small 2-story building known as the Casino de Bernadette, stands on remains of one of the nymphenians at the sides of the large triniculum belonging to the imperial palace to the Domitianic period, dating to the 16th century. Domus Flavia. The Domus Flavia was a public art of the Great Palace built by Domitian, occupying the central and southern area of the Palatine Hill. We are in the center of the peristyle of the palace, overlooked by the main reception rooms. On north side, the remains of the so-called Aulariga and the Lararium, while the south was the Senator Louis, a large heated triniculum that still preserves remains of the splendid opus sectile decoration. Beneath the triniculum is the Flavian Palace, lie important remains of Nero's palace, which according to ancient authors extend from the Palatine to the Alpi and here. Nero's grandest domus, initially named Transipia, was rebuilt after the fire of AD 64 and renamed Aurea.
was ancient. Stella. 小秀。
Rooms of the Domus Augustana overlooking the